So very good morning to one and all, and I welcome you back to this lecture series on heat transfer for chemical engineers targeted for GATE preparation. Today we'll be discussing some of the previous year GATE problems on boiling and condensation. And at the end of this particular session, I will talk more about how you can prepare this particular topic and what should be your preparation strategy. All right, let's moving forward. Here's the first question that came in the very recent GATE 2021, and the question reads as follows. The HTC for a vapor condensing as a film on a vertical surface is given by which of the following theory or equation? So this was a 1 mark question with a minus 1/3 marking for incorrect answer. I'll give you a second to think and then I will explain the solution. Okay, kudos to everyone who could find out B. Nusselt theory as the correct answer. So let me give you a brief about each of the following equation. This Boulder equation is used for the flow through pipes to find out the convective heat transfer coefficient H. In the turbulent case, Sederate is also used to find out H for the flow of fluid. Chilton-Colburn analogy is not related to this particular topic. You will be seeing this in detail in your transport phenomena course. This analogy talks about how heat transfer coefficient and mass transfer coefficient are similar. It's also known as Reynolds analogy or a J factor analogy. So if you have a complete data about the heat transfer process and there is some mass transfer process also occurring in the same system. So you have some system where heat and mass transfer is occurring, you have a complete data like all the parameters, etc., for heat transfer. You calculate the non-dimensional numbers for heat transfer. Then based on it, you can calculate non-dimensional numbers for mass transfer without knowing all the particular parameters. See, you don't know Debye, you don't know one or the other two things, you can calculate it. So you'll be learning this Reynolds analogy in your transport phenomena. And essentially what we were doing is finding out the Nusselt number, and the name to that number was given on the name of Nusselt, who had developed that theory. So Nusselt theory is the correct answer. And I hope you're clear with what all the four names belong to. Okay, so moving out to the next question, question 2. This came in GATE 2020. Again, it was a 1 mark question, and the question reads as follows. The Leidenfrost phenomena refers to, and the four options are: it refers to condensation of vapor on a cold surface, or the exchange of heat between two solids, the melting of frost, or it refers to film boiling and evaporation of liquid droplets falling on a very hot surface. So pause this video, try to answer it, and then I will discuss the solution. So kudos to everyone who could find out D as the correct answer. So the Leidenfrost point is the point at which the film boiling and evaporation has started. So it refers to film boiling and evaporation of liquid droplets falling on a very hot surface. So in the case of pool boiling, it refers to film boiling. Pool boiling matlab we have a pool of water and we are providing some flame to it, and we are providing heat through some sort of flame or some heated surface over here. That is called as pool boiling. In the case of pool boiling, it refers to film boiling, and in other terms, it essentially refers to evaporation of liquid droplets which are falling on a very hot surface. So it will immediately form a film over it, a film of vapors over it. So maybe the droplet falls on the floor, it will have a layer of film, and then there will be drop, and then the heat transfer occurs, and essentially the heat has to transfer through this particular vapor film. And this particular thing is also seen in day-to-day life. So if someone of you experiences some sort of burn, a thin film of vapor is formed around our finger, and this particular film protects us, protects our skin from burning, and then we get a blister and those things occur. So this is the Leidenfrost phenomena. So the condensation of vapor on a cold surface, no, it doesn't refer to that. Melting of frost, something very different. And exchange of heat between two solids, I mean, that is either based on conduction or radiation. Or if some fluid is filled in between it, that might be the case of convective heat transfer as well. So none of the other three options matches to Leidenfrost phenomena, and D is the correct option. Let's move to the third question for today. In a pool boiling equipment which is operating above ambient temperature, and how is it designed to operate? So we have a pool boiling equipment which has to be operated above ambient temperature, so about 25 degrees Celsius, and how it has to be designed. So for which flux basically you will design, or at which value of delta T will you design? So there are multiple options over here. Some options are regarding the condition on delta T, and some options are on the conditions on flux. So you guys can refer to the boiling curve and try to answer this problem. We'll pause here for a while, try to find out your solution, and then I will discuss the answer. For all those who have said B as the correct answer, yes, B is the correct answer. It should be operated near the critical heat flux. I would like to know what was the rationale or the reasoning behind choosing B. I mean, there can be multiple ways to answer it, but I have a very nice way in mind, and I would like to know what was your rationale as well. So anyone who answered option B can please unmute and share his and thinking behind choosing this particular option. Yes, guys. Yes, Rutuja. Or Shreyas.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Shreyas.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Sir, first of all, the heat flux increases, and then vapor starts to form near the film, and that's why the transition area comes. So the heat flux has to decrease because of the vapor coming there. The heat transfer coefficient of vapor is less, so that's why heat flux will decrease, and that's why that is the critical heat flux. Now if we want to operate a pool boiling equipment, we should use it in the maxima that is created. If we want it after that, it will not be possible, because after a long range of temperature, we will get the same heat flux, but it can burn the equipment. So I think B is the correct answer.
Correct. So the idea here should be delta T is something that you will be providing while designing a equipment. So this particular thing costs you. So you want to optimize this particular thing, right? And to optimize this, what you will see for at what delta T I can get maximum Q. The more is the Q, the better your operation, or higher throughput you will get, higher output you will get. So you say, okay, here it is increasing. All right. So at this point, I get the maxima. After this, as Shreyas pointed it out rightly, you will straight away get it above this point. So there is no point in increasing delta T, which is around 20-25 degrees over here, to around 1000 degrees at this point to get a better Q. So here in this particular case, flux is the deciding factor and not the temperature. The last two options, C and D, are talking about this particular region wherein the Q is minimum. So, and also they are the conditions on temperature, whereas critical heat flux should be taken as the operating point, and it should not be far above the critical heat flux. not neither far below. It should be just around a critical heat flux, so that some minor fluctuations in delta T will not lead to a very big change in your Q. So B is the correct option over here. Let's move to the next question. Before that, Shreyas, kudos, you had a very nice explanation for it, right? So this particular question was asked in GATE 2018, and this is a numerical type question. So please keep your calculators ready. Don't feel intimidated that we didn't learn any formulas or such kind of things in this particular topic in our previous lectures. This particular question is very interesting because it will use a lot of common sense and some of the basic topics that we had learned previously in the solution. So the question reads as follows: vapor bubbles are formed in the nuclear boiling regime. They have already specified कि nuclear boiling regime क्या होता है, उसमें vapor bubbles form होते हैं, and they are given the frequency as well of 10 bubbles per second per nucleation site. So if you have a vessel like this, and I had said that on the low surface area there will be various sites wherein that nucleation will form. So each nucleation site is producing 10 bubbles per second. So there are 10 bubbles that are getting formed and going up, 10 bubbles getting formed and going up. All right. And then they have given you number of nucleation sites per area of heating. Then they have provided you with the lambda value and the density of vapor as well. They have said that all the bubbles are of same diameter, and assuming that the entire energy that has been supplied is used for vapor generation only, what would be the heat flux? So here you need to do some sort of reverse calculations based on how many bubbles are generated. Find out, go back and find out the total number of the total amount of heat that has been provided per unit area. So just a hint, you can start by taking the basis as 1 meter square of heating area, and whatever value you will get will be the exact answer for your particular numerical in this case. So I'll give you around 2.5 minutes to solve this problem, and then I will discuss the solution. Feel free to pause here, and then I will be discussing the solution immediately. Okay, so the correct answer is around 0.52, and let's see the solution. You have been asked to calculate the heat flux, and it has been said that all the heat that has been supplied is used for vapor generation only. So what we have is Q dash equals m times lambda, where lambda is the latent heat and m is the mass that has been mass of liquid that has been converted into vapor, and Q dash is since I have given those two double dash on as the superscript, so Q double dash refers to flux per heat flux. All right, so lambda value is something which is known to us. The only target is to find out mass. I can say mass equals volume of the vapor bubble times the density of the vapor bubble. Now to find out the total volume of the bubbles that are formed per meter square per second, I know that there are 10 bubbles per second per nucleation site, and there are 100 sites. So 10 into 10 into 100. So these are the number of bubbles that are formed per unit area per second. So this is hash of bubbles per meter square second into, now what I need is volume of one particular bubble, which will be 4/3 pi r cube, or I can even write it as pi/6 d cube, just to keep it in terms of a diameter. And with this, you will get the volume of liquid that has been vaporized. correct? And then you just multiply it with lambda, and this has to be multiplied over lambda, and what you will be getting, the units will, you need to match up the units. So this will be 10 to the power 3 times pi over 6 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 cube into lambda is given to be 1000 kilojoule per kg. So 1000. Now we are asked everything in watt per meter square. So I need to multiply this by 1000. And this is joule per kilojoule, and this value was in kilojoule, so it cancels out both the things, times I need to multiply it by density, which is 1, and this unit is kg per meter cube. This had kilojoule per kg, so kg getting cancelled. This particular unit was meter cube per meter square second, so meter cube getting cancelled, and whatever we are left with is joule per meter square second. Joule per second is watts, and watt per meter square is what we were asked. So we are very much consistent with the units. A small cross check that I want every one of you to be very careful about. So what we have is pi by 6 into 10 power 3 minus 9 plus 3 plus 3. This cancels out, and what the answer is pi by 6. So 3.14 by 6, which is roughly equal to 0.5. So even without using calculator, you can write 0.5152 and you will be getting the answer, because there will be a particular limit window to answer, or you can just calculate one single step and enter the correct answer, which is 0.524. This is the answer. So 0.524. This is your answer, and this is watt per this guy. So I hope how calculations need to be done in the GATE exam are clear. So always keep your units also with the values. You can do it in this particular fashion, or you can have all the values written on one side and the units on the other side, so that you don't end up doing some sort of calculation mistake, right? Or else you got the right value. Most of you got the correct value, 0.524, but since your order of magnitude or units were not matching, you would have landed over here, minus 0.67. So please be very careful about it. We'll move to the next question, question 5. All right. So this question is again on nucleate boiling, and it says, in nucleate boiling, the pressure inside a bubble is higher than the pressure of the surrounding liquid. Assuming that both the liquid and vapor are saturated, the temperature of liquid will always be. So you need to comment on the temperature of the liquid. And what you have been given is, in the nucleate boiling, the pressure inside the bubble is higher than the pressure of the surrounding liquid. So try to answer this out, and then I will discuss solutions. And you can pause the video for a while and think about it. Yeah, kudos to everyone who found out B as the correct answer, and Kaushik was the first one to answer it. So I give this opportunity to Kaushik to please explain his rationale behind getting this answer. I mean, how he approached this particular problem. Yes, Kaushik.
Like, sir, because it is not mentioned as water, so I just omitted this at 100 degrees. And it is given as pressure inside a bubble is higher than pressure surrounding liquid. So it cannot be equal.
Yes.
And now there is option like lower and higher. What I thought was it is said that it is saturated, means liquid and vapor are saturated.
Yes.
So pressure inside the bubble is higher. which means which means the temperature will be lower of the liquid.
Okay, so yeah, you are on the right track, Kaushik. So what you are essentially trying to say is the Antoine's equation. Whenever you have some sort of liquid which vaporizes and they are in they are kind of having saturated pressures. So to calculate the saturated pressure of a particular thing, we use the Antoine's equation, which says that saturated pressure is directly proportional directly proportional to temperature, and it's side of a log thing. So log of it's kind of this expression, log of P sat is equal to some parameter, I guess what it is, a minus b by c plus t plus c, or t minus c. I need to remember remind. I mean, it's of this particular thing. So it says that P is proportional to T. We all I need is P is proportional to T. Correct? So जिसका प्रेशर ज्यादा उसका टेम्परेचर ज्यादा, या जिसका टेम्परेचर ज्यादा उसका प्रेशर ज्यादा, राइट? इसमें क्या दिया है? प्रेशर इनसाइड द बबल इज हायर. So if the pressure inside the bubble is higher, then what will be the case? Very straightforwardly you can say, yeah, lower is the temperature of the vapor. Correct? All right.
Yes, sir.
We'll then go to the next question. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, P proportion. Okay, great. So then we'll go to the next question. This is from GATE 2016, and this is the only case where your Nusselt equation has been used, the very equation that we had discussed at the last of yesterday's class, right? So the question reads as follows: a steam at 100 degrees Celsius is condensing on a vertical steel plate. The condensate flow is laminar. Average Nusselt numbers are Nu1 and Nu2 when the plate temperatures are 10 and 55 degrees Celsius respectively. Assume the physical properties of steel to remain constant within the temperature range of interest. Using Nusselt equation for film type condensation, what is the ratio of Nusselt number in the second case to the Nusselt number in the first case? So this is the particular question that has been asked. Okay, so it will be very great if you guys remember the entire expression in the GATE exam, or else what can be done, I will discuss it in a moment. So I'm pausing it for a second. You guys can also feel to pause, think, and then we'll discuss. So if you remember the formula, which says Nusselt number is equal to some constant times density of liquid times density of liquid minus vapor into gravity times lambda L cube divided by viscosity, thermal conductivity delta T to the power 1/4. It has been given that all the properties remain constant. So the only change is with delta T, and from here we can straight away see that Nusselt number is inversely proportional to delta T to the power 1/4. So Nu2 by Nu1 will be delta T1 by delta T2 to the power 1/4, which will be delta T1 is 90, delta T2 is 45. So this will be 90 over 45 to the power 1/4, which is 2 to the power 1/4, which is 1.19. All right, ये हो गई आम जिंदगी, इसमें आपको प्रॉब्लम का फॉर्मूला बिल्कुल याद था एग्जाम में भी, एंड यू कुड सॉल्व इट. नाउ what if you don't know the formula? How you can try to still get the correct answer? So it is a bit tricky, but it is also very much possible. So again, go for this only if you have time in the exam. Okay, but what you need to do is you can simply remember one thing कि इसमें 1/4 होता है, and then you can try to remember कि which we had already discussed. तो पूरा डिस्कशन अपना इसी के ऊपर लाई करता है. देखना, हम लोगों ने बॉइलिंग में बहुत ही डिटेल में डिस्कस किया था कि जो नस्सेल्ट नंबर होता है, ठीक है, या फिर जो एच होता है, वो जैसे जैसे डेल्टा टी बढ़ता है वैसे वैसे घटता है. हमने बहुत अच्छे से डिटेल्ड वे में देखा था. वही चीज इधर भी हो रही है, सिमिलर थिंग. क्योंकि जितना ज्यादा होगा उतनी जल्दी वो उसके ऊपर फिल्म बना देगा, वो ड्रॉप वाइज से फिल्म वाइज चले जाएगा. एंड अगेन जैसे उधर से ड्रॉप, उधर से जैसे न्यूक्लिएट से फिल्म जा रहे थे तो अपना एज घट रहा था, इधर भी वो ड्रॉप से फिल्म में जाएगा, फिल्म कंडेंसेट्स में, और वो एज घटाएगा. सो ये रिलेशन तो है ही है, राइट? सो यू गाइज नो एच हैज टू बी इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू डेल्टा टी. देन इफ यू still don't and then if you remember that कुछ तो ऐसा एक्सप्रेशन था, हमने कहीं तो पढ़ा था, constant to the power something to the power 1/4. You can still go with this and still get the correct answer instead of knowing the complete formula, right? But what if कल को चल के उन्होंने लेंथ के साथ खेल कर दिया, right? अगर उन्होंने कहा कि लेंथ चेंज कर दी या कुछ चेंज कर दिया, तो you all know, still no problem. Nusselt number is given by hd by k, where d is your length thing, so it has to be proportional to l. Everything is inside this 1/4. So you can try, but you will then face some problems. Okay, so what I suggest is, if you guys have around 3 to 4 minutes in your hand in the exam, just do Buckingham analysis, just do Buckingham pi analysis. Remember the things that we had said, E, rho L, delta rho, G, lambda, L, mu. ठीक है, बॉइलिंग में सीपी आ रहा था, इसमें सीपी नहीं आएगा. अगर आपने लिया भी तो भी वो वैल्यू 0 हो जाती है. एंड आई हैड डन दिस इन माय एग्जाम कि 1 2 3 4 5 6 सीपी हट गया 7, और बाकी कौन से थे 9 इसमें, हाँ, डेल्टा टी 8, and are you missing out on something? No. And yeah, h was the 9th. So you have to write an expression for this. So just try to make a non-dimensional number out of it, and you will land up getting the same thing. It will take around 3 minutes, and once you get it, it will be another fact of a minute. I mean, it will be a question of another minute. It will take 4 minutes. It's a lengthy approach, but exam, if you have time, you're able to solve other questions, and you want to don't miss out on this particular kind of thing, you can use Buckingham pi theorem and do it. Okay, I had tried doing it in one of my exam, and I was good enough, I could clear it. I had some things in my mind कि like ये न्यूमरेटर्स में रहेंगे. I had some ideas क्योंकि these things have to be directly proportional, this has to be inversely proportional. I never take जो सिस्टम के प्रॉपर्टीज होते हैं ना, मतलब जैसे लेंथ ऑफ द सिस्टम, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक लेंथ, डायमेंशंस, मैं उनको कभी प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी में नहीं लेता हूँ. I always take the proportionality, remember the proportionalities of the physical properties of the material, like डेंसिटी के साथ इसका क्या होगा, रेनॉल्ड्स नंबर और डेंसिटी में क्या होता है, राइट? मैं उन चीजों के ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस रखता हूँ अपना. तो क्योंकि बाकी इसमें ना, जैसे ये लेंथ का क्यूब हो गया है, किसी किधर स्क्वायर हो जाता है, तो उसमें हम फंस सकते हैं. बट डेल्टा टी, डेल रो जी, लैम्बडा, उनका कभी स्क्वायर क्यूब नहीं होने वाला कभी भी. सो यू कैन also try to have them in mind, and based on it also that will just ease the process. तो उसमें क्या हो जाता था मेरे साथ कि I knew डेल रो इधर आना है, रो ने इधर आना है, डेल टी ने इधर आना है. एंड ऑलरेडी बॉइलिंग में एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक जो मैंने डिस्कस किया था, जो कि गेट के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, कि कौन कौन से पैरामीटर्स के ऊपर एच डिपेंड करता है. सो आई नो कि एच डिपेंड्स ऑन दीज मेनी फैक्टर्स. सो बचे हुए फैक्टर्स को मेरे को अरेंज करना है, राइट. सो आई जस्ट सिंपली अरेंज देम एंड आई एम थ्रू. ठीक है. इसका एक और यूज कब होता है, जब आपको टर्मिनल सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी और उस टाइप के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने होते हैं गेट में. उसमें भी कुछ फॉर्मूलेज में जनरली लोग कंफ्यूज कर देते हैं कहीं ना कहीं कुछ. तो उस टाइम पे अगर आपको थोड़ा बहुत फॉर्मूला याद है, जस्ट गो फॉर बकिंघम पाई थ्योरम एंड यू विल बी एबल टू गेट द एग्जैक्ट फॉर्मूला. हाँ, ये इधर के कॉन्स्टेंट्स थोड़े से आपको याद रखने होंगे, बट जनरली वो रेशियो कैंसिल होने वाली क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. तो यू कैन स्टिल एस. अगर तुम्हें पता है कि ये फैक्टर ऊपर होता है डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द पावर, तब तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बिना फॉर्मूले का आपका क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हो गया. लेकिन नहीं पता है तो देन यू कैन जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस. इट टेक्स अराउंड 3 to 4 minutes extra in some cases. In some cases it can take hardly a minute also, क्योंकि आप उधर के उधर ही सीधा यूनिट्स बैलेंस करने लग जाओगे और आपको पता चल जाएगा ओके इधर 1 by डेंसिटी आना है, या क्योंकि आपको थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया होता है, बट कुछ भी आइडिया नहीं है तो भी आप बकिंघम पाई से आगे बढ़ सकते हो. एंड इट विल टेक अराउंड 3 minutes, बट यू कैन अर्न मार्क्स. सो सी द रिवॉर्ड and based on it proceed. So this is my tip to all of you. I mean, you try doing it once or twice before going into exam. So होता है क्योंकि इतने सारे फॉर्मूले थे मैकेनिकल ऑपरेशन में, तो भाई फॉर्मूलेस का भंडार है. टर्मिनल सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी, फिर साइक्लोन सेपरेटर, ये वो, so many formulas. So and then sometime it can look like सब एक जैसे दिखने लग जाएगा एग्जाम के बीच में, you might get confused. तो उस टाइम पे this will actually help you a lot. All right. With this, let's move to the next question. So this particular question was asked in GATE 2015. and देख रहे हो, मैं हमेशा कहता था टेम्परेचर प्रोफाइल्स पे ध्यान रखो, टेम्परेचर प्रोफाइल्स बनाना सीखो, उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं. सो दिस इज द क्वेश्चन ऑन इट. सो दिस क्वेश्चन इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ हीट एक्सचेंजर एंड बॉइलिंग एंड कंडेंसेशन. तो बॉइलिंग एंड कंडेंसेशन हो रहा है, बट किसमें हो रहा है, तो हमने एक हीट एक्सचेंजर डिजाइन किया है उसके लिए. ऑल राइट. तो ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड ऑफ योर स्क्रीन you are seeing some temperature profiles named one in Roman 1 to 4, and P, Q, R, S are some of the statements. So what are those statements? Or these are the modes of operation describing the process fluid. So the process fluid is getting heated or cooled, and what was the physical condition of the process fluid? Was it superheated, supercooled, saturated, and so on and so forth. So you need to match the pairs and tell me like 1 is for P or P is for 1, the profile for Q is 2, the profile for R is 3, and profile for S is 4, something like that in the chat box. So the bold line is for the process fluid, and P, Q, R, S are again describing the change that is occurring to the process fluid. All right. It's a shell and tube heat exchanger which is operating in the counter flow mode, which is very much evident from the all the temperature profiles. The arrows are in the opposite direction. So I give you a minute. Please think and write your pairings in the chat box. So whenever there is some convection and conduction in series and all, ऑलवेज जब भी कंडक्शन होगा एक स्ट्रेट लाइन से टेम्परेचर प्रोफाइल आएगी, जब कन्वेक्शन होगा तो एक इस टाइप का कर्व आएगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हॉट इधर है या कोल्ड इधर है, कहाँ से कैसे फ्लो हो रहा है, राइट. सो द अदर प्रोफाइल विल बी लाइक दिस. अगर बाहर हॉट है अंदर कोल्ड है. ऑल राइट. सो
Yes.
मतलब फ्लूइड किस साइड है, so basically this was solid, this is solid, this is liquid, this is fluid. I always prefer to term it as fluid. Can be liquid or can be gas or vapor as well. All right. Second thing जो हमने boiling and condensation में स्टडी की, बॉइलिंग एंड कंडेंसेशन में सिर्फ और सिर्फ लेटेंट हीट एक्सचेंज होती है, उन प्रोसेसेस में डेल्टा टी जो है वो जीरो होता है. तो वी नीड टू नो दिस पर्टिकुलर आइडियाज एंड सम मोर आइडियाज फॉर अदर प्रॉब्लम्स, बट इस प्रॉब्लम के लिए इतने आइडियाज सफिशिएंट है. ऑल राइट, नाउ लेट अस जूम एंड सी ईच ग्राफ. तो हम पहले ग्राफ से स्टेटमेंट बनाने की कोशिश करेंगे एंड देन स्टेटमेंट से ग्राफ का भी देख लेंगे, सो काफी क्लैरिटी आ जाएगी. ऑल राइट, सो चेतन,
यस सर.
ग्राफ 1 में बोल्ड लाइन किस तरह से चेंज हो रही है? इनिशियल में क्या हो रहा है? सो एंट्री पॉइंट क्या है?
डिक्रीज.
ये एंट्री पॉइंट है, ये एग्जिट पॉइंट
Yes.
है, करेक्ट? राइट.
यस
सो एट द एंट्री, फ्रॉम एंट्री टू एग्जिट, ओवरऑल ट्रेंड क्या दिख रहा है? टेम्परेचर
सर. फर्स्ट इज डिक्रीजिंग एंड देन कांस्टेंट.
देन कांस्टेंट. ओके, सो ठीक है. देन नाउ,
Sir,
हाँ, यस साइकिरण.
sir, here exit is starting point, no, sir. Arrow mark is from right to left.
We are considering bold line, right?
Sir, distance is from
बोल्ड लाइन केस 1.
yes, sir. Okay, got it.
हाँ, ओके. सो बेसिकली कुछ तो ठंडा हो रहा है. सो बेसिकली वी हैव समथिंग हॉट. सो इस केस में इट कैन बी अ वेपर, इट कैन बी अ, ideally it will be a vapor, and at this point it might have reached its saturation temperature and hence it is getting converted. Basically एक phase change इधर हो रहा है and इधर some sort of cooling is taking place. So cooling and then phase change. So this can only happen in case of a vapor. Vapor can be superheated. So let's say water vapor, we have a steam maybe at 120 degrees Celsius, and now I need to make it to water. So first I have to cool it down till 100, then I will exchange the latent heat, and then I will get water at 100 degrees Celsius. एंड आगे अगर चल के मैं ये कहता कि मुझे वाटर चाहिए 80 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे, तो आई नीड टू फर्दर कूल इट डाउन एंड द ग्राफ विल लुक लाइक दिस. सो इधर क्या हो रहा है? फेज चेंज हो रहा है एंड द आउटपुट इज एट द सैचुरेशन एंड there is some cooling happening. So we'll look for the exact keywords which is there in the option Q, right? So condensation of a superheated vapor. Superheated vapor मतलब वो ज्यादा टेम्परेचर पे होगा than the saturation temperature. So पहले कूलिंग हो रहा है and then it is just getting condensated. सुपर कंडेंसेशन या सब कूलिंग अगर लिखा होता तो उसके नीचे ये एक्स्ट्रा जो रेड लाइन मैंने ड्रॉ की है वो होती. All right, Chetan, is it clear?
Yes sir.
Now I want you to think about this second graph. Say out the things that are going in your mind loudly, so others also get a habit of the way the things have to be analyzed. So what is the entry point? Left one or the right one?
Right one.
Yeah, so this is the entry.
Yeah.
This is the exit, correct? Okay, so at the entry, what is happening?
Increasing. Temperature is increasing.
Okay, so some sort of heating, correct?
Yes.
Great. Then
phase change.
okay, phase change.
Means
And-
constant. Yeah.
okay, great. And then
Again increasing.
okay, so किसको हीट करके हम उसका टेम्परेचर बढ़ाते हैं? तो लिक्विड का, करेक्ट? सो सिंस वी आर
Yes.
हीटिंग इट, so it should be a subcooled liquid. So let's say we have a water at say 70 degrees Celsius and I need to make steam at 120. So I need to heat it to 100, then convert it into vapor and then heat the vapor again, correct? So this looks to me like heating of a subcooled liquid to superheated vapor. So this matches to P. I mean हमने ऑलमोस्ट स्टेटमेंट जनरेट कर लिया था सिर्फ ग्राफ देख के, करेक्ट? तो we doing this exercise is pretty much simple, reading the statement and finding out the graph. But This exercise will give you more clarity about the things. All right, now we'll have someone else to do this exercise. So Pahuni, would you like to volunteer? Or maybe Rutuja?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, can you describe the third graph or temperature profile?
First one is entry point. Sorry, left one is entry point, and the right one is exit point. First, phase change and then decrease in temperature.
So basically, this part refers to cooling of something, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this will be essentially vapor, because vapors are cooled, correct? So there is no cooling of vapor seen. I mean, I cannot see a profile like this. So I can clearly say that the vapors were at saturated condition. So we have saturated vapors and we are subcooling it. So first process is condensation of saturated vapor, and then we are subcooling it. So it matches with the S. Or even if you are asked to write the statement, you could have written saturated vapors are condensed and then the liquid is subcooled, something like that. All right, let's do it for the final profile that we have. Yes, Rudy, you may continue with this last profile as well.
Right one is the entry point and the left one is exit point.
Correct.
So first it is increase in temperature, so it is boiling and then phase change.
Okay, so the liquid must be subcooled, or the liquid is below the saturation temperature. It is heated and then it is boiled, right? So this matches with the R. So the idea is, in any of your interview, if you are asked to draw the temperature profiles, you could draw it, or if you are given a temperature profile and asked what it explains, you don't have options in front of you at that time, then also you are able to understand it. So in the exam, it can go like, you have a shell and tube exchanger, some discussion is going on, and then they immediately say, I'm using steam at 120 degrees Celsius and I need to subcool it using cool water at 20-25 degrees Celsius. What sort of profile do you expect? Then you don't have these options to help you out with. So this particular understanding will help you. So then they will ask you to draw both the profiles as well. So this takes place in HPCL and other interviews. They ask you to draw such profiles and you need to know how to approach it. So this was the approach for it. All right. So now let's move to the next question. This is from GATE 2013, and it says, in a pool boiling experiment, the following phenomena were observed. So basically, all the four regimes of the complete boiling curve are given, and you need to enter the exact sequence, the correct sequence of occurrence, which regime occurs first and which is at the last. So pause this video, think of the answer, and then I will discuss the solution. Yeah, I guess almost all of you have got it correct. Yes. So in a pool boiling experiment, as the delta T is increasing, first we come across natural convection. Then from at the end, towards the end of natural convection, we see onset of nucleate boiling, and then nucleate boiling starts. And then as the nucleate boil, as we are further increasing the delta T, there is a transition from nucleate boiling to film boiling. So we have a transition boiling regime, and then now a stable film has formed, and film boiling has started. So the correct order will be A, D, C, B. This is the correct answer. So in the GATE exam, there were multiple options, and you had to choose the correct one. Now we'll go towards the last question of our today's session, and the question reads as follows. In a film type condensation over a vertical tube, local heat transfer coefficient is, dash local film thickness. So you need to understand and here answer the relationship between H and delta. What will be the sign over here? So is it equal? Is it independent? Independent means there is no relation between H and delta. Directly proportional, inversely proportional. What do you, what is the relation between H and delta? This is the question. This was a 1 mark question in GATE. Yes, Saikaran says A. Rutuja is saying A. Yeah, it's inversely proportional to the local film thickness. And we have already discussed this in depth in our previous class as well. So if this is the particular plate or surface, vertical surface, as the film thickness increases, okay, as the film thickness increases, this is increasing this resistance of the film, and that is reducing your H. So as delta is increasing, your H is getting reduced because this particular has higher resistance than this solid vapor interface would have. And that was the particular reason why industrialists always preferred to have a drop-wise condensation, but because of limitations and this conditions, it is very difficult to maintain drop-wise, and then they always have to calculate for film type. I mean, they are forced to calculate everything for film type, but drop-wise is the most, what I would say, preferred mode of condensation. So yeah, it is inversely proportional, and all the other options are incorrect. All right, with this we come to the conclusion of today's session. And before concluding today's session, I would like to present some concluding remarks. So this particular topic of boiling and condensation has been very frequent, and there is a very high probability that at least one question from this topic comes in the exam. So if we see around the time scale that we saw today, we saw papers from 2011 to 2021, and I have even gone further back to around 1990 to 2021. So 1990 was when our GATE for CHE started. So it's almost 70% on the longer range scale. Here it is slightly above 70, roughly to 80%, that at least one question is asked at on this particular topic. In the previous GATE, the format was different, so there were multiple questions also, maybe 1 or 2 questions, but not more than 2 in any of the exam. So you can expect to get around 1 or 2 marks if you just study this topic. Also, the beauty of this topic is it's very simple and lucid to understand. It's not so difficult. The problems that are framed on this topic, you have also seen, are not so difficult. They are very straightforward, simple. There is just some slight maneuvering or interpretations involved. So if you know the basic concepts, then you can use them and try to solve the questions. Also, the numericals that are coming are moreover based on the basic concepts. Like you saw the GATE 2018 numerical. Initially, it looked like a question on nucleate boiling, but then it was basically a chemical process calculation kind of thing where you had to calculate the total mass. So it was pretty much simple question. I mean, it was not involving a lot of calculations. And so I feel that this topic should not be left out in preparation. Also, for your placement tests, if you have a test of around 50 questions, expect at least 1 or 2 questions on these 2 topics. Or rather, I would like to phrase it in this way: expect 2 questions that involves the concepts of these 2 topics, and at least 1 question that is solely based on this particular topic. So this is pretty much easy to understand, and you don't need to keep on revising, having a lot of practice on this topic. So it hardly takes around 2 hours to learn it. you can go back and refer to my lectures. We had also done a very good and developed a good understanding on these topics in those classes as well. You can refer to this class to see how problems are asked. So in a nutshell, what are those topics that you need to prepare or you need to keep in mind? So in the boiling, you should know what are the various parameters that affect the etch. First, you should appreciate that it's a convective phenomena. I mean, it's a convective mode of transfer. And the final expression will be Q is equal to H over H times delta T. And now what are the factors that affect H? You should know that why it affects, and directly proportional, inversely proportional. If you have any doubts about it, you can always go back to our lecture, I guess 17, where it was discussed in detail. I have also made a chapter, I mean, I have marked that chapter in the video. Then you need to understand the boiling curve. You can appreciate this. I mean, of those 9 questions, at least 2 or 3 questions were directly on the boiling curve, addressing some various aspects of it. And then in the boiling curve, there are 4 regimes. So you need to understand each regime and its implications, like why the H is small in that particular area. Okay. What is happening over there? The bubbles are getting formed. The bubbles are now agglomerating. They are now moving towards film. As the number of bubbles are increasing, why H is decreasing, so on and so forth. And this pretty much covers your pool boiling experiment and boiling. You should also have an idea that apart from pool boiling, there are forced convection kind of things. So you have a vessel, there is some sort of spinning taking place and boiling is taking. So you should remember that other modes are also present. And then you have a hot plate and you're dropping some drop of bubbles over it and it is getting vaporized. Such kind of things can also be done to generate vapors. In the condensation, you need to understand 2 things: the modes of condensation and their comparison. So there was from this surface thing, that is drop wise and film wise. Then we had direct, where and then we had homogeneous. In the homogeneous, we were forming a fog. In direct, either vapors were purged into liquid, or a liquid was purged into the chamber of vapors, and then condensation was occurring. So you need to know all the 4 cases or the 4 modes of condensation and their comparison. So I never formally wrote like the way we used to do in our school, like making a table and writing out the points, but I have discussed all these points, and you can make a nice table out of it in your notes and keep it handy, because such questions can be asked, like the H in film wise is more than H in drop wise, true or false. Some sort of questions like this can be asked, and they are asked in your interview tests, the technical tests that you have. So these are the topics that you need to prepare. You can have a screenshot of them, or anyways, the video is being uploaded on YouTube. You can always go back and refer it over there. And the detailed discussion of this topic is in our lectures. So for those of you are in your final year, please prepare this topic beforehand and keep it handy. This will at least help you to get 1 or 2 marks in GATE and at least 1 or 2 questions in your interview tests. All right. With this, I conclude the discussion on boiling and condensation. Thanks a lot. We'll meet in the next class and start with a new topic.